Introduce our chief guest for the evening, Dr. Satyanarayana Chava. He is the founder and chief operating officer of Laurus Labs. With an investment of 60 crore rupees and an R&D first approach, he established Laurus Labs, which has emerged now as an integrated pharmaceutical company with clients in over 60 countries in just 15 years. Under Dr. Chava's leadership, the company has emerged as the leading supplier of APIs in the antiretroviral segment of the world's top 10 pharmaceutical companies. Under the leadership of Dr. Chava today, Laurus Labs has commercialized more than 60 products, filed 71 drug master files, and 322 patents, of which 184 have already been granted. Prior to Laurus Labs, he has had extremely successful stints at Matrix Laboratories, Vorin Laboratories, Ranbaxy, and Vera Laboratories. He also has 103 patents granted or patent applications filed across the world. He is also nominated as a member of trustees of the prestigious United States Pharmacopeal Convention in 2006. He is now a member of the Committee of Administration in PharmExcel. Forbes magazine has featured Dr. Chava for driving the company on one of the fast-track growth in a span of 8 years in the hidden gems and the world's 100 most innovative companies feature. He has won many awards and recognitions which stand as a testimony to his immeasurable contributions to the healthcare space as well as society at large. He holds bachelor's, master's, and a PhD from Andhra University. As I mentioned earlier, he is also one of our own, an alumnus of ISB's own PGPMAX. In addition, he holds a postgraduate diploma in quality management from Worldwide Quality Certification and was conferred an honorary doctorate in science by the Gandhi Institute of Technology and Management, Visakhapatnam. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Chava to the podium to address our graduating students.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't go that side. I wanted to come this side because I am also a student of this institution. So all students vote from this microphone. I want to thank board, dean, faculty, students, and all the admin staff for giving me an opportunity to be a chief guest on this August occasion. When I realized all these scholars of excellence took more time than what they intended, I don't want to remove the paper to give a speech. So I will give a concise speech. Dean gave a very valuable request to be generous to the people who are not privileged. I would like to give, I came in life as a child born to an agricultural family with no school in the village. For us, the rainy season was the important season because we had to walk a mile to the school every day. If there is a rain, no school. So then, after the schooling, we have to go to a school, college, which is outside, on the opposite side of the river bank, which is Amravati. So I joined the college and stayed in the hostel and see the village from the top of the hostel every day. After finishing +2, I wanted to join BSc. Those days, we had to choose a major, physics, chemistry, maths. I was not good at maths, so I wanted to take a physics major. I'm just 50 meters away from the counter to pay the fee for a physics major. My sister's friend came on the way. She was asking, what major you are taking? I said, physics. no, 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 physics faculty is very bad here, take chemistry. So I took chemistry. You see the fate. So I wanted to do physics, but I decided to chemistry because my sister's friend said chemistry faculty is good. So I went, did my graduation in chemistry, and I did my master's in organic chemistry, and then did PhD there itself. As a kid came from a village, when I was looking at how I fared in the exams, in 10th class I got 51%. I passed in second class. I didn't bother much. In the plus 2, I did 62%. Parents were very happy. They were giving more pocket money because from second class I moved to the first class, first grade. Then in BSc, I did 83%. So, and in MSc, I did 87% marks. So, why I'm telling this is, people coming from the rural areas, their view about what is available, what is not available is very, very scarce, even these days in the country. So, as Dean mentioned, we have to be helpful to the people who are not privileged to get education like this. I'm sure we are very fortunate, and the ISB is also very imaginative in putting names, Max, Pro, Fab. So, because they want to charge more money. So, but the value, what you are getting for your fee is enormous. I'm sure in your groups, you have a thinker, you have a dreamer, you have a typist. I'm sure all of you are not typing the coursework. Somebody will in your team will type. So you have a very close-knit teams. You do team work. And also you are paying these fees for the time you are spending with your faculty, for the time you are spending for the rest of your life with your classmates. So when I joined this PGPMAX program in 2010, I was 50. 48 actually, not 50. My hair was graying. I don't worry too much now because I have little to care whether it's gray or white, it doesn't matter. So when I joined the program, people were asking, I was an entrepreneur at the time, people are asking me, why you want to do an MBA program? My desire to join a management program came from my university days. Then after finishing my MBA program, my board, my friends, my investors were asking, what is the difference you are demonstrating after finishing your management program? It's a very interesting question. You can also ask yourself, what is the difference you are making after finishing this program? I never thought people will ask that question to me. The day came, people asked me that question, and I gave a very honest answer. Before the management program, I was a good human being, and I want to be a good CEO. After the management program, the order was reversed. I became a good CEO. I want to be a good human being. So the order was reversed. But don't think it is funny. When you are running an organization, you have to align your priorities to the company's priorities. Before the program, I was thinking my priorities are company's priorities. But after the program, I realized some activities which I don't like, I have to do because there are thousands of families depend on the quality of my decision. So I have to implement some decisions which are against my consciousness as an individual, but I implement today. Part of my decisions I implement which I don't like as an individual, but I implement with wholeheartedness because those decisions affecting thousands of families in our company itself. So that is the big difference what I gained after doing this management program. I am very thankful to the faculty here. And also I had a good class from the founding team. We really enjoy. I think PGPMAX 2021 said they are the best class, but I differ with that. We are the best class. Yeah, yeah. Here, I wanted to talk about few things. Before I talk about the book, I'm sure all of you are aware, negativity has more impact than the positivity. So that's very visible these days. During our master's program, me and my fellow director on the board, walking down the stairs, I went down the stairs much faster than him. He was upset because he's more is more healthier, fit when compared to me. He said, no, I will do 50 times more than what you do in 1 hour for a 10 rupees bet. That was, I'm talking about 1986, 1985. I said, okay. Then he said, we will do first. Then he said, no, you do first. I did only once. I asked my friend, you do 51 times to get 10 rupees. He said, no, I will not do it. So if you are not doing 51 times, give me 10 rupees. He gave me 10 rupees. He accepted defeat. He doesn't want to do 51 times. Why I'm saying this is, nowadays there are many books talks about how to be successful, how to be a great entrepreneur, how to be a great human being and all. But no book talks about how to be a failure. Have you ever read a book, How to be a Failure? No, I'm sure nobody would like to read a book which takes time to read to be a failure. But the one book I like very much, when I graduated, I gave 2 books to all my classmates. One was 10 Commandments for Business Failure. So that book talks about how to be a big failure in the life, how to be a big failure in the work. Then the title itself, 10 Commandments for Business Failure. If you follow those 10 commandments, you are a great failure. There is no way you can succeed if you follow the 10. It is written by Donald Q, the ex-chief operating officer of Coca-Cola. He talks about 10 principles, very simple principles. Give mixed signals, don't take risks, believe only in consultants, and be infallible, lose your passion. There are 10 rules. If you follow those 10 rules, you will be a failure. Then how to be successful? He talks about if you stay away from these principles, how far you stay away from these principles, you will be successful. So if you read that book, you will realize how important those teachings are in our day-to-day life. Say, we don't take risk. If we don't take risk, there is no reward. And you always play close to the foul line, but nowadays everybody wants quick returns, so they want to play closer to the foul line. So you always stay away from the foul line. So that book is very important. That my suggestion is you should read that book, 10 Commandments for Business Failure. The other book I read once in a year. It was Winners Never Cheat, even in difficult times, which was also written by John Huntsman, chairman of Huntsman Chemicals. He was the chairman until he died in 2018. He was a philanthropist, donated more than $1 billion of his wealth to charity. He talks about how a genuine leader will never lie, even in difficult situations. He talks about certain principles in life. You have to set an example and think like a child. Suppose you are talking about all management principles and all. If you have any doubt about your decision, go and talk to your child who is less than 10 years old. Explain your problem. He will give you the right answer. Because his mind is not corrupted. He thinks very fair. So he always thinks about, think like a child. Set an example. Say yes when it is yes, say no when it is no. So these two books are very dear to me. And I always suggest to our leadership, to our friends, I always keep certain copies in my office. Whenever I see a new person which I want them to grow, I give these two books. So I suggest you guys practice, especially the last one. Winners never cheat, even in difficult times. That is very, very essential. In day-to-day life, I'm sure some of you are from the family businesses. The biggest challenge is your parents might have came to office on a bike. You might be riding a super bike now. So the biggest challenge in the current generations is how the businesses are transferred from one generation to the another generation. I mean, Kavil is leading a lot of papers in the family businesses. That is the biggest challenge in the country. So you have to be humble when you are growing up in your career. Be humble, respect elders, and also you should be able to take quick decisions. The decision making is very important. So unless leaders take decisions, the organizations will suffer significantly. Here, another dilemma all leaders, most of you will face, the overlapping roles between an executive manager and a leader. So in a startup, you are okay to overlap the roles of an executive, manager and a leader, but in a large organizations, you have to clearly define what leader has to do. What leader has to do is share the fame. Don't share the blame. You have to share the fame. You have to share the wealth. You have to share success. But unfortunately, we only find as a leader, if you always look somebody for a scapegoat, you are not a leader. You are a manager. So as a leader, the ability to accept mistakes is very important. If you are ready to accept your mistake in a meeting, 10, 15 people are there, I made a mistake, then you have a fair chances to become a leader rather than blame on somebody else for your mistakes. That is the biggest lesson I also learned in my career. Sometimes at our company, we do certain contrarian things. In our organization, we have about 1,000 scientists work in R&D. 1 in 5 colleagues works in R&D. But some people measure our R&D output based on how many products we produce. But that way, we are most inefficient organization in the country when people think about how many projects we deliver per year. So we follow few projects, put as many people as possible. So some management books say, no, spread your risk so thin, don't put your resources on all eggs in one basket and all. We think contrary. In some cases, we deploy hundreds of scientists on one project. And we were very successful in many cases where we deployed significant resources on few projects. So you have to narrow your focus, put enough resources to be very, very successful. So the other suggestion I wanted to give you is, in any organization or any business where you are involved, you have to think about your stakeholders to increase the long-term value. Today, most of the businesses or leaders are becoming greedy. So they want to achieve short-term success while compromising the long-term prospects of individuals and organizations. So the first thing you have to keep in mind is, in your stakeholders list, you have to write your employees first. They are biggest stakeholders. And then your customers and vendors, another biggest stakeholder. Your society where you operate is the third biggest stakeholder. And the last stakeholder in any organization is the shareholder. So if you put shareholders' value improvement as your first stakeholder, then you will never achieve your long-term value creation in any organization. So don't change the order of your stakeholders list. Keep employees happy, they are your biggest stakeholders. Keep your teams happy, they deliver more value. And you have to respect your customers and vendors same way you treat. Those are very important. And then society where you operate. If you don't respect society, I'm sure the society will not support you when you need a support from society. So be responsible to the society, and then your shareholders will get tremendous return if you don't change the order of your stakeholders. And I'm sure most of you will become great leaders because you invested significant resources and time to graduate from this great institution. But when you want to become a leader, you have to question yourselves first. Generally, what we do as leaders, we tend to ask our peers, what is my weakness? We don't ask what is our strength. But as a leader, I don't ask my colleagues, what is my weakness? See, an individual knows his weakness better than anybody else. And we only ask others. Others may not know your weakness. So we have to maximize our strengths. And if at this age, if you want to strengthen your weakness, sometimes you may do it, but it is very expensive. As a chemist, I don't want to be a software engineer. I can be a software engineer, but I'm a terribly expensive software engineer if I learn software at the age of 60. So we have to maximize the value of our strengths. And if you have a weakness, try to supplement by recruiting people for that weakness. Don't try to spread your knowledge across so many things. So at this graduation ceremony, I want to wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Dr. Chava, for that wonderful, inspiring speech.